All right, welcome to the Pod to Win the Game. I am Charles Robinson, senior NFL writer for Yahoo Sports. Just got back from a month on the road doing training camp tours and very happily joined by my longtime friend and newly announced Amazon employee. I'm just going to call you an Amazon employee. I'm not even going to say you're an NFL guy. Michael Smith, back in the game. Gets on camera. I'm already upset because his hair looks better than mine. His fit looks better than mine. He didn't just gain 12 pounds while he was on the road for a month. He's got a nice shirt on. He's coming to you from Gillette. They got him a suite in Gillette. This is what happens. Mike comes back and they're like, "Hey, Mike, can we get you a suite in Gillette so you can shoot your podcast?"
I'm in an abandoned announcer booth that nobody knows I'm in here. Hey, I'm at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots liable to come get security for me for being somewhere I'm not supposed to be. All your information was right except the part about 12 pounds, except I can't have the excuse that I made no hotel food. It's good to be here, man. It's good to be back. It feels right. It feels like a great fit for me. I'm just happy to be back in the game. And you never know. I may be delivering a prime package to your door. So stay tuned for that, too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I didn't realize there were going to be some benefits to this. This completely changes everything. Obviously, we're talking about Mike has been hired by Amazon to be part of the Thursday Night Football crew, which is going to be handled by Amazon Prime Video. Amazon is the monster in the game. I'm going to tell you right now, if there was any crew or any moving forward relationship I would want to be a part of, it's Amazon. And I think even when Amazon entered the chat for the NFL, I've said all along, this right here is the monster. Like, this is the big one. And eventually they're going to deepen their relationship. They're doing that. Amazing hires for that Thursday crew, of which you are part. Extremely excited to see this happen. And we'll get to the schedule in a minute, but I just wanted to real quick. This to me, so Mike, you and I have known each other a long time. Okay, going back basically 20 years.
Time. Yeah,
and so I was kind of side pocket, friend, with the front row ticket for everything at ESPN, the rise there and everything, the development. I lamented when Mike, kind of left the NFL world. He never really fully left, but I mean, you stepped out of like the daily kind of role of it. And Mike will tell you that I have always said, I wish we could get you back in this world. It's going to be better for everybody that you are once again back on NFL turf. I know that you've had a chance to go out and have meetings already with different teams. I know there are coaches and GMs that are like, "Hey, I get to meet this guy," which is different. I go in there like, "Who?" They're like, "Bro, who are you?" But can you? I just want to ask. Can you tell us a little bit just about the journey for you? And I don't know if we got to get into the weeds on all the ESPN shit, but just sort of the journey for you and getting to this point.
No, I actually want to get in the weeds on the ESPN shit because. And you mentioned not only did we go back 20 years and we were on this NFL beat together and hanging out at Combine and Senior Bowl and owners meetings and grinding on this beat as young kids. You were there for me and a great friend to me when I needed you most, and a brother to me when I needed you most. And you're not even a phone call away. It barely rings before you pick up and be like, "Hey, what do you need?" And even the last 2 years on Brother from Another on Peacock, like you've been our go-to guy, our number one receiver, our playmaker. And so I'm grateful to you for that. I'm grateful to you for that introduction. And to your point, Charles, about what this means for me to be back. It's funny, man. Like the last 4 years have been challenging, have been mentally and emotionally and psychologically challenging. And I don't shy away from speaking openly about that because things did not end well at ESPN. They ended in a way and at a time that was somewhat unexpected for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so transitioning out of that, and not even transitioning out of ESPN, transitioning out of purgatory, because my last SportsCenter was March 2018. I left ESPN in September 2019. So
Hmm.
I was more or less on the inactive list, for like 18 months,
Right.
which was quite a mind job. And so from 2019 to 2020, I started, moving into entrepreneurship and building my company. In 2020, I joined NBC Sports and Peacock to do Brother from Another. But even then, still kind of like figuring it out, trying to like figure out this new reality, having spent 15 years at ESPN, 15 mostly good years. So for me to be here right now, man, is a testimony, that sometimes things fall apart for things to fall into place, as it's been said. And I'm in as good a place as I've been really ever,
Right.
between my revised and reimagined and remixed relationship with NBC Sports and Peacock, but also now adding Amazon Thursday Night Video along with Inflection Point Entertainment. Oh, excuse me, Amazon Prime Video Thursday Night Football. Beg your pardon, can't mess that up. Along with my company, Inflection Point Entertainment, and so it's just been a great fit, and the reception has been fantastic, led by people like you. Um, it feels like I've just been welcomed back with open arms, and I'm really grateful for all the kind words, all the congratulations, and yeah, I'll tell you, man. And you and I talked about this because you knew that I was in talks with them,
Right.
Before it actually got announced. And I told you then that I was a little anxious about whether or not the game had passed me by, whether or not the league had turned over too much, whether or not, people still remembered what I did circa 2001 to 2009, And man, between the Cowboys, I saw the Cowboys, the Chargers. I haven't done like you did. I've been a month on the road, but when I was in LA, I saw the Cowboys, Chargers, and Rams. And then today I saw the Panthers and Patriots. And the reception has been like, it's almost like I never left. So
Yeah.
it's been really, really touching.
I think the thing is too, like you and I, as we talk through what people don't know is there've been plenty of opportunities over the years. I mean, there hasn't been a shortage of opportunities. It was just like, when was it going to be the right opportunity? And I remember when you told me about this one, and I think the first words out of my mouth were like, oh yeah, do that. Like that's the one. Like I was like, this is the one, bro.
What's to think about? Like
right. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, no, this is the one. This is definitely the one. That Thursday, and it was crazy because you came to me and I had already seen the Thursday night slate. And when they announced the Thursday night slate, we ended up talking on this show that day. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this Thursday night slate is unbelievable. I'm like, this is a monster. And as soon as I knew they were going to be hiring for that crew, I'm like, wow, there are going to be a lot of people that are interested in getting to that. And then, where it moves forward. So I think it's funny when you talk about, well, has the game passed me by or just kind of like how we all operate. I think it's the opposite. I think it's perfected itself to where it's wide open for you because look, I mean, there's an element of this that hasn't changed since 20 years ago when you and I were pups. And that's that whole like, the sort of I call it micro nugget. Oh, somebody got signed. The 5-minute news cycle. Oh, somebody got signed, or this just happened, and then 50
everybody
million.
Else has.
Yeah, everybody has it in the next 5 minutes, and it gets confirmed, and there's a place for that. But I think what has always been one of your greatest strengths is relationships, having people who are real with you, and give you the insight that you need to be able to explain something on the other side of it. And I think like, to me, all the little micro nuggets are interesting, but that's just like Twitter fodder. Like it really is it's like a wood chipper on Twitter. And I'm like, okay, great. I got but now I need to know what the hell happened behind this.
Right.
And you are one of by far the best. And I kind of joked when you got on today. I'm like, man, now that I see the dude and I know he's on the beat, I'm like, damn it. I'm like, I don't know if I want this dude on the beat now. Because now this is someone else I got to deal with. And the funny thing is,
got to worry about me.
Well, you and I have already talked to, we won't say who, but you and I have already started to talk to some of the same people. And I'm like, man, maybe I don't want this dude talking to some of these people. Like, this is.
Oh my God! Stop. No, listen. First of all, I appreciate that. Of course, that means the world coming from you. You know how much respect I have for the work that you've done, but not just what you've done, but how you've done it. And I think you and I again, coming up in the same era. Like we're young-ish. Kind of feel like Owen Wilson on the steps with Vince Vaughn and Wedding Crashers. We're not that young, you know. I mean, but we're not dinosaurs yet. But we're kind of old school, but with a touch of new school. And by old school, it's like we showed up. You know, we traveled, we hit the road, we were in locker rooms. We didn't just tweet or write from afar.
Right.
You know, and throw stones and hide our hands, as the old saying goes. Like, we were always, boots on the ground. And we talked years ago, we've talked about who we wanted to be in this space. Did we want to be, and no, this is not a shot at anybody, this isn't a dig, this isn't disrespectful, but did we want to be trafficking in transactions? Did we want to be the people who got injuries and trades and signings 5 minutes before everybody else? Or do we want to just be really smart and informative and make our viewers, listeners, and readers smarter? And you've always done that. And it's why you're not just my go-to guy for Brother From Another because we're brothers, because we're friends. It's because, like, stuff, even, and infinitely more than you write, or than you say on your pod to win the game. But that's why, you've been able to keep these relationships, because people trust you. And so for me, a big part of the Amazon conversations was, and I listen, I don't know how you've still done it. I got out the game before Twitter really took over. Talk about like Twitter fodder. When I was doing it, it wasn't quite, 50, 11 people, everybody and their mama with sources reporting shit. It wasn't like that. I don't know how, like the fact that you survived in this era. I played in the dead ball era, the no shot clock era. The game has sped up in the last decade or so. So, we had real conversations about who I wanted to be in this role and what I wanted this role to be and what they wanted this role to be, more important, obviously. And I carefully, my title is not an accident. News analyst is intentional, because I did not want to be called an insider. A, I didn't want to be limited to an insider, but B, I didn't want them under the impression that I was just going to come back after being out of this thing for well over a decade and be competing with the Charles Robinsons of the world. It's like, I need a little time before I can start to kind of like, get scoops and drop nuggets and this sort of thing. So I want to manage expectations in that regard. But also more than that, man, and again, it goes back to how you do your job and how I've always done it. And I was talking to Albert Breer about this earlier. I'm here at Gillette Stadium, as I mentioned, and we were both there at the joint practice for the Panthers and the Patriots. And we were talking about how, unfortunately, there's been this line between analysis, opinion, information. It's like you can live at that nexus. Mm-hmm. And it's you can have informed analysis, informed opinion. You could have hardcore information. I don't have to be put in a box. And so Amazon was receptive to that, and they understood who I was and who I've always been. I've always been somebody with a voice, with an opinion, with a perspective, and that's exactly what they wanted. And once I heard their vision for this role, I told them straight, I was like, well, I'm your guy. If you want somebody that's got perspective, insight, information, relationships, then yeah, along with opinion, sign me up. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for it, because I'm sure there were plenty of people who were interested in this position and who they considered. But I'm really grateful that they saw what I brought to the table and offered me a seat at this table. And as you mentioned, man, this team, we got a pretty damn good team. Yeah. Pre-game, halftime, post-game, and most important, the game. We got a pretty damn good team in front of and behind the camera. And I'm just really sincerely, again, this goes back to the journey that that I've experienced, not just over the course of my career, but the last 4 years in particular. How people just be like, hey, I'm just happy to be here. Like, oh, no, I'm not bullshitting you. I'm literally just happy to be here. I mean it when I say your boy is just happy to be a part of the team. That's it. So,
well, I don't think it's any, surprise that one of our favorite guys in the business, who's I guess sort of from our era, quote unquote, Jeff Darlington we're both close to Jeff. And I think one of the greatest assets that Jeff has brought to the table is exactly what you just said. Being able to tell the story, have the relationships, give you insight. He can give you opinion. He can get out in front of things. I mean, one of the all-time things with Jeff was, he was the one who just kept saying over and over, Brady's leaving New England. Like, this is going to happen. This is real.
Yeah.
And he got killed on it for the longest time. And then it happened. Yeah. And I always thought in the wake of that, I wish people would look back and recognize, like, hey, this is someone who knows what the hell is going on. And that is very important, because he can help guide you through something in the process of it, or he can help you sort through the rubble in a way that's meaningful. And that's how I look at you.
Don't lose your thought, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to say this though, because I don't want to forget this. Honestly, man, like and coming back has crystallized this for me. I don't know that people even remember that kind of shit. Some people remember, you were the guy, who said Brady was leaving. Some people remember, like, oh, you were the guy who said that Texas was taking Mario Williams and everybody else thought they were taking Reggie Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Some people be like, oh, yeah, you were always ahead on Deshaun Watson, even when people thought you didn't know what you. I don't know that many of those people exist outside of our universe.
Right.
And by our universe, I mean the people who do this specific thing for a living. I think what's lasting, what you have, what Jeff has, what I hope I have, is just the type of person that you are. And people throughout the league respect how you do your job. That's why I said not just what you do, but how you do it. Just how you move. That you can be trusted. That I could tell you something and you're not running to Twitter with it, or you can have a conversation as a human being. Everything's not transactional, literally and figuratively. Not only are you not only just, you're not just chasing who we're signing, who we're trading, who we're cutting, whatever, but you're also just not looking for something from me every time we talk. Mm-hmm. There's a real authentic relationship that you, Charles, have with, people throughout the league, that Jeff has with people throughout the league that goes beyond just sources. It's like, no, like, we're cool. Like, yeah, you have a job to do, I have a job to do. Sometimes they don't always, complement each other. But you guys are good people. Like, the reason like we're boys, because like you're a good dude. Darlington's a good dude. Like, and that translates into the work that you guys do. And I'm just glad to be in that same breath with you guys.
Well, I'm hyped to have you back. I'm sure, I know a lot of people, in our shop, a lot of mutual friends. I think just people are wildly excited. When that tweet went out, just kind of seeing the reaction of people on Twitter was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice.